All right. So what's the success that you see in that
I
video?
see success in terms of sort of like making my expectations visual, like saying when you're done, put your pencil down so I know you're done. In terms of like engaging with the students, so if one student is not able to give an answer, I'm quick to engage the next student so that they're all involved and they know that this is like a group think effort. And in terms of they've been like they understand the routine of like coming in, sitting down quietly, working on their do now. We share out together and answer it, and then we collect them. So I feel like they're very clear on like what the first 3 to 5 minutes of art is. It's like reviewing what we have been learning previously through this activity, the do now.
Yeah, I really, especially in that last part, saw a lot of success. Like, I know that you've been working on getting them to come in, sit down, and get started, and I did see 100% of them do that. Even a kiddo who came late. I mean, Jeremiah came in with like a little bit of attitude,
He
and
did.
but you handled that so well. You're like, I'm sorry, you're in a bad mood, and then like totally didn't engage, and he got to it, right? So like, you definitely had like 100% of them. Like that's a win. That was great. So what I want to talk about now is the do now.
Okay.
And what they're going to actually be doing
Okay.
when they sit down at their desk.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is go through just an exemplar of what a really effective do now is.
Sure.
And then kind of look at what the do now that you have going on is, and then see if we can determine any gaps.
Okay.
And how we can make your do now a little bit stronger. Why do you think we might mock it? The reason for that is that they are coming in and getting started. Your do now, we'll see. It has some room for growth.
Okay.
So we'll get into the reasons why after we do this. So I sent you an email.
Okay.
And it's got just the first link is a primer on an effective do now, and just read that over. And we'll discuss like what the criteria are for an effective do now.
Okay.
You can also just look at it on my
I was like, can you just pass? Okay.
All right, so just take the next couple of minutes to read that over and let me know.
You want me to look over the galleries of the do nows as well?
Yeah, so just look at then the do now examples.
Okay.
It's right there.
Oh,
on the
right
next
here.
tab.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Hi. I'm really sorry to interrupt. Do you have a key that gets into every room? I really need to get something from Clarity's room.
Not on me.
Okay,
You
that's
have to
fine.
just go to-
Thank you.
Do now. Okay.
All right. So after having read the criteria and seen the examples, what's the gap between the exemplar and your do now?
I think that my do now is more, or it's more of a review rather than anticipating the upcoming lesson.
Okay.
Because I was expecting, like, we discussed monochromatic in our last lesson, and it carried over into this lesson. So rather than having, like, introducing them to a new term this lesson, I just kind of, like, was reinforcing what we learned in the previous lesson. So maybe it would be more effective if it was anticipating what we were learning today. It's also very simple and straightforward. I feel like it could be a bit more rigorous. Maybe have them... Maybe rather than just having them write a definition, maybe having them actually use it or think about how they see, you know, monochromatic color schemes in the everyday world, or maybe there's a way to make it more than a straightforward definition.
And in terms of how much time this might take?
This probably takes they're literally writing one sentence, so they could do it in 1 minute. So it probably could be flushed out more, so it's taking at least 3 minutes for them to get through it because we need 5.
Right.
So this is probably too simple.
What would be the danger in having a do now that only takes 1 minute?
They're off task and bored and ready to get into other things while I'm still trying to get ready. So they have to remain busy for that first 5. And a more robust do now will keep their brains working and their bodies still, as opposed to being elsewhere.
Yeah. Is there a clear criteria for what you're looking for other than complete sentences?
Yes. I think...
If I write 2 to 3 words, am I less right than somebody who wrote 2 sentences?
Yeah.
Like, what's my clear criteria for success here?
There's really only one clear criteria, I think, and it's to use complete sentences. So I think that there could definitely be room for them to have more concise, like, parameters to fall within to get this done.
So I think that, in an effective do now, you're going to have, like, more precise parameters. Exactly is what you're saying.
Yes. Besides, like, in the space below.
Right. Because if I'm Kevin, I can write 2 to 3 words and be like, I'm done.
Right.
Rather than if I'm Maya, I might write 3 sentences and I'm done.
Right.
You know
Maya
what I'm saying?
will
You want
write,
a little more clear parameters for what excellence looks like.
Can I mark my do now?
Of course.
Okay.
So, what do you think your action steps should be?
Immediately addressing the do now. I think that I need to make more clear parameters in terms of what my expectations. So maybe instead of saying, remember to use complete sentences, maybe I could start off by saying, like, write 3 to 5 sentences about defining, like, in 3 to 5 sentences, define monochromatic painting and how we have used it thus far. Or I'm just trying to think of a way to, like, bulk up this so it requires more brain power and, like, translating what we've learned so far on paper.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be, like, pencil to paper writing.
Right.
Like, they have to actually think and work through it.
Yeah. So I think, like, in general, I should have been more specific. Like, given that 100% got a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, what is your next action step? Is it, like, you just in general need to improve your what?
My do now.
Right.
Okay.
We're just working on do
okay.
nows.
Just do nows. Right.
So to make a more effective action, do now.
Yes.
And then we'll get into, like, the how.
Oh,
and
okay,
we'll,
got
like,
it.
bullet,
Okay.
like, the different hows.
Okay. I went way big.
So your action step is,
Okay.
To implement effective do nows that meet. How will we know that they're effective? How did the exemplar say you know if it's effective or not?
It'll take students 3 to 5 minutes to complete.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main thing.
Well, I
that
was
saw.
more so referring to these like 4 criteria. You know, like it'll meet the.
Oh, okay,
Right.
yeah. So they'll come in. I won't have to explain to them what
Right.
the do now is. They'll be
Mhm.
able to address it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be laid out for them,
Mm-hmm.
bright and clear.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take at least 3 to 5 minutes for them to get through,
Yeah, you don't have to memorize it.
and it should preview the day's lessons.
Yeah.
And it should be in the same place
Yeah.
every day.
Cool.
So
So I'm going to sum that all up by
Okay.
saying your action step
okay.
is to implement effective do nows that
Yep.
meet the 4 criteria for
Okay.
success.
Yep.
All right. So what's your action step?
I'm going to implement effective do nows that meet the 4 criteria for success.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to write that down. All right. So let's take a look. I asked you
Okay.
to bring like an
A lesson.
upcoming lesson.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it.
Okay.
And
So this is a lesson that we weren't able to get to
Mhm.
because their supplies weren't there yet, but now I'm able to bring it in and work on it.
okay.
But we recently worked on color value studies, so now we're just going to do just pure value studies, removing color,
Mhm.
and they're going to do a value drawing of a landscape.
Mhm.
So what I have written down are 4 concepts that they're going to think about, highlights, contrast, and shadows,
Mhm.
because those are all components of value.
Mhm.
The first day is going to be, which I have, they'll do their do now activity, which sort of like introduces them to or leads to value.
Mhm.
And then we usually do like studies
Mhm.
where it's a project that leads into the final art project. So they'll do their own value scale.
Mhm.
And then after we finish with the gap value scale, they'll do a final landscape drawing.
Okay.
I should have brought my materials. I have like guides for them to get through. I actually have the drawing, and then I have sort of like a map that lists